So welcome everyone to the Data 101 Navigating Data Landscape by Noida Databricks User Group. I'm Harshit, a senior data engineer at R Systems and also the organizer of Databricks Noida User Group. So coming to the next slide. So these are the things which we are going to cover in today's session. We are going to see what exactly the data ecosystem looks like and some of the real life use cases and a walkthrough of what are the real use cases and how we can build our career in terms of data and AI space. So yeah, welcome to the world of data and AI driven world. Most people say that the next uh, tenure is going to be of AI. But why I'm saying the tenure is going to be of data and AI, think about it. Basically, if you think of anything which you are doing on the internet, anything which you are doing on your phone that is generating a huge amount of data, whether it's clicking on your phone, whether it's swiping right, swiping left, or even watching the Instagram reels, everything, whatever you do, generates a lot of data. And data is going to be the future fuel. Why I'm saying this? Because everything which you see around you. You are every day hearing Gen AI, Gen AI, Gen AI. Each and every company like Microsoft, Google, Cloud, Perplexity, and so many others are only talking about Gen AI. But do you know and think how this Gen AI is getting powered? That's because of data. So let's quickly get into some real world use cases and let's experience how data is powering the ecosystem. So think of Zomato when you are hungry and at 1 a.m. you are thinking of pizza and Zomato is recommending, oh, pizza with some offer. How they are getting to know that you are thinking of pizza? Think of LinkedIn when you are applying for a particular job, you are applying for a trainee role and you are getting so many roles for that particular domain only. How they are going to, how they are getting to know it? Think of Netflix when you are watching a series and you want to watch a series and you are coming next time and you are seeing, oh, there is something which is recommended by Netflix which I really wanted to watch. So how these things are getting powered behind the scene, everything which is happening here is powered by data. Now, let's understand the big picture behind the data, how this data world really looks like, or how this AI works really looks like. Who are the people who are powering this entire ecosystem and how we can get into it? Okay. So here I have mentioned the big data picture. Why? Because when we talk about data at a scale, that's big data. Think of Zomato, think of Swiggy, think of Netflix. How many people are using it? So they are not just generating the data, they are generating huge amount of data. Now let's understand the major roles in this complete ecosystem. There are three roles. One is data engineering, second one is data analyst, and third one is AI ML engineer, or we can say that data scientist. So uh, in simple words, we can say data engineers are builders, data analysts are finders, and data scientists are predictors. Now you don't need to, get into any of these roles as of now, but you need to understand how they are interrelated and how they are even distinguished from each other. So data engineers, these are the builders. What I mean by builders is here, think of your automated attendance system in your college. So you must have a punch in and punch out system. You must have been giving your attendance into the classroom. So think of how many teachers are there. Somewhere around 2,000 teachers in any university. Somewhere around 10 to 15,000 of students. So that's a huge number. They are marking their attendance. Their attendance is getting correlated. Their attendance is getting mapped. So many things are happening behind the scene. The person who is doing all this is data engineer. Maybe some of you might be thinking that someone in the backend engineer is doing it or the backend developer is doing it. You are correct. But when it comes to storing all this information apart from your live application, then comes the role of data engineers. Maybe it's sounding too much clumsy right now, but yeah, we will be discussing in the later chapters with a real life project or a real life example where we can exactly understand what exactly data engineers do. This is one of the most confusing aspect for the people who are interested in data domain. They understand what exactly data analysts do, they understand what exactly data scientists do, but they really don't understand what data engineers do. I'm talking about the major chunk, not everyone, but yeah, the landscape is changing and people are getting aware of what exactly data engineering is. So coming to the next role, that is data analyst. So data analysts are people. Let's suppose I want to see what's the sale of this year is 2024 is, what was the sale of 2023, what was the sale of 2022. So when I say about 2022, 2023, 2024 sales, you must have imagined a graph like a bar chart like picture, that yeah, this was the sale, this was the sale, this was the up, this was the down. So all these things, whomsoever is doing all these things, these are the data analysts. Basically, they build this story out of data. They understand the data, then they build the story out of it. Now, think of a dashboard of your college where you are getting. There is, I'm very sure in your college or in your role currently, you must have the dashboard where you're getting the performance. Like, okay, I'm getting this grade, this grade, this grade, and my attendance is this. This is a pictorial representation. So that is some done by someone who is data analyst. Basically, these are the detectives who are finding behind the data. These are the detectives who are exploring beyond what a common person can see. And the third one, that is data scientist. People think this is one of the most hot job these days. Of course, it is hot because everyone is talking about data, AI, Gen AI. So yeah, data scientist is one of the most prominent role these days. So let's understand what exactly data scientists do and how they do. Let's just take example of a college only. For example, in Shada University or GLA or any other university, we have some students enrolled there, right? In the start of the year, they have enrolled. Now, what we observe that their attendance is not up to mark. Some of them are coming 10%, 20%, and their fee is even not paid. And when it comes to their grade, they are also not passing or barely passing. So based on these data points, uh, an ML model can predict that, okay, these people are not going to continue their studies, they are going to drop out. So any person who is building these kind of models, any person who is doing this kind of stuff will be a data scientist. Hope I'm clear so far. Would expect a thumbs up or a yes in the chat box. That would be helpful for me to understand where we are. Sorry, is my screen was not visible that time?
No, it is visible. Guys, you can interact in chat. There's no shame of doing interaction.
Okay. Was my screen visible? I just stopped sharing, or it was not shared at all?
You just stop the sharing when
Okay.
you were asking the question.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Let me share that again. Okay. Is it visible into the slide share mode?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we have almost cleared till the AI, ML, and data scientist part. Now let's understand how exactly data flows and how these roles are interrelated and how we are, switching from one role to another, or how the real story looks like. So yeah, let's quickly get into it. So think of a placement portal of your college, right? There is a placement portal. So let's forget about the placement portal. Think about a Google form which your placement team is circulating to fill for a particular company XYZ, or they're circulating a pre-placement form to understand what exactly the scenario of currently is. Okay, so you are submitting your details that, okay, my name is Harshit, I have got 8 CGPA, this is my resume, these are my scores in all these subjects, blah blah blah, and so many so informations. Or simply you are putting your roll number, you are putting your resume, and you are putting your total grade points, right? Now once this data is stored into once you fill that form, this data is getting stored into a database or a lake house, right? And once that particular data is getting stored, now your placement officer would be pulling out that data from the Google sheet or from the portal, and he will be marking as eligible, ineligible, eligible, ineligible, decent, so many kind of marking, or acceptance criteria he would be marking on that Excel. That process of cleaning the data, that process of filtering only the qualified candidates and rejecting the non-eligible candidates could be considered as the role of a data engineer. This is at a very low scale in an Excel. That's why a single person can do that. I mean, the analysis and prediction, everything a single person can do. But when it comes to a scale, there comes so many specialization. So till this process, that guy has cleaned out, only considered. For example, there was a form for computer science, but by mistake, mechanical students, civil students also filled that form. But the placement team cannot directly share that information with the company, right? Because we also have a stake of our college. So what they will do, they will filter out only the CSE students, they will remove other students, and then they will send. So that filtering process, that is one of the role of data engineers, cleaning. So when it comes to data engineering, there is a major term which is called as ETL, extract, transform, load. Extract means pull out the information. Here the guy pulled out the information from your Google form, your portal. That is extraction. Then comes the transformation part. Transformation, making eligible, uneligible. That's transformation. And also marking, clearing out the data. Like this, these candidates are not from CSE. They should not be, given to the company who are specifically hiring for CSE. Cleaning, that is also the role of data engineers. So these are the some of the major chunk or day-to-day activities which data engineers do. So till now, this is what data engineers do. Now it comes to the analyst part. Okay. Now that guy has screened out the data. He has the information of all the students. Okay. Now let's suppose the placement is also completed. Placement for the 2026 batch is completed. Now he wants to understand what was the placement rate or how many percentage we have moved up in terms of our previous year placement, or how many percentage we have moved down in terms of our previous year placements, or past 10 years placement. So what he will do, he will collate all these excels from 2024, 2025, 2026, and so on, and he will draw a pictorial representation or maybe a numerical representation of, okay, this was the number, this was the number, this is the number. So anyone who does this kind of mathematical work, he's analyst. Basically, he's being detective towards the data. He's trying to analyze the patterns to inside the data. That's the job of data analyst. Now, when it comes to data scientist, so okay, let's suppose there was a 90% placement in this 2026 batch. Why 90% placement was there? Because 85% of the students were from ML batch, rest of from the other branches or core branches. Okay. And in 2024 there was less placement, 50% placement. Why? Because 50% of the people were from core branches. Considering a scenario, this is not a real scenario at all. Okay. So now here comes the ML engineer. He will be seeing the data. Okay, these are the data. Let me feed it to my model and let's see what would be the placement for 2027. Okay, what would be the placement for 2027 if we have this much intake from a specialization, if we have 100% intake from an ML background, what would be the rate of placement? So based on those data points, the person who will be building the model, that person would be the data scientist. Forget about the data scientist here. Let's suppose here is your placement officer. He's saying, okay, this company is only taking the students who are having 9.5 CGPA plus and who are having good English speaking skills. So your placement officer can even predict that, okay, this guy is going to be selected mostly and this guy is not mostly going to be selected. So see here, this was a very small amount of data for 400 students, 500 students, or 1,000 students. That's why a single person can clean the data, a single person can build the dashboard, a single person can predict it, right? Sometimes not a single person, but 3-4 people can do it, and they can all do it in an Excel. Not forget about the prediction part on a scale, but for a single student, for me, okay, let's suppose Harshit would get placed or not. So my placement officer, if he knows about my skill set and blah blah blah, so he can predict. Okay, but when it comes to scale, then we require a large enterprise tools to do this at scale, because it's not only the information, it's all it's also the cost, it's also the time it's going to take to process all these information. So hope you understand the scenario for the college placement portal, and you really understand how exactly these things go out through it, right? So I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new. You also know that your placement officer takes the data, he cleans the data, he then sends through the company, and he also analyzes that, okay, this guy is going to be placed, let me put a special referral for him, right? Some kind of these scenarios. So I'm not telling something new. So this happens at a small scale data, so a person can do it at all. Not think of a large scale data. Think of Zomato. When it comes to Zomato, you can understand how many orders are getting placed every minute. Understand it. for even 2000 orders or 2000 customers. If I'm placing a customer, sorry, if I'm placing a person, okay, understand his trend, how he's ordering. He's ordering at 1 a.m. always a burger. Let's give him the ad of burger. Let's give her the ad of burger. Okay, in afternoon he orders biryani. Let's give him or her the order of ad of biryani. How? I mean, it's not practically possible to put a resource or put a person for a 1000 customers, right? Because that would be a too costly. Even if you are paying 20,000, then it's not going to be the uh, ROI, return on investment, for that, because you're not going to sell that much, right? So when it comes to scale, we need tools which can do things at scale. We need people who can build these tools at scale. That's why here comes the complete set of tools which are required to do it. Not everything can be done on Excel because it's a big huge amount of data. So yeah, in terms of collection, we are collecting the data from GPS orders, that is data collection, right? When it comes to storing, we are storing that data at lake. When it comes to processing, we are processing it with multiple tools. Whether we can be using Databricks, we can use AWS AMR, we can use BigQuery notebook, we can use Dataproc. So many tools are there. We can use any of them. And these are the enterprise grade tools which are built to process billions of rows, trillions of rows, right? And of course, when it comes to an analysis, we can have different kinds of BI dashboards, like Power BI is there, Tableau is there, Click is there. These tools can be used for the visualization purpose. And when it comes to prediction, we have SageMaker, we have this AI Foundry of Azure. So we have so many tools which can be used to predict this at scale. So hope you understand how the simple things which are working on a small amount of data is getting utilized in the same way in industry, but with specialized tools to do specific job. Right? Hope it is clear so far. Okay, great. Thanks. Now let's get into the tools. What exactly the tools you should learn if you want to get into the data AI or data analyst role. So I would like to hear from you. What do you think, if you want to get into data analyst, data scientist, or data engineer role, what would be the tool you would be preferring, or what are the tools required to do so? Just mention in the chat box. Maths, okay. Power BI, okay. Guys, be interactive. I would love to hear Tableau, okay. I would love to hear PySpark, okay. Maths is right, Tableau is right. Each one of you are right. You all understand what exactly is required to be in industry, but there is some building block when it comes to sometimes Excel. Okay, absolutely right. If you want to become a data analyst at a mid-level company, 100% Excel is very important skill, right? Okay, Python. Yes, I wanted to hear this word, Python. Thanks, Janvi, for writing it. Anything else, guys? AWS, MATLAB. Okay. SQL. Yes. All right. All right. I think I heard what I wanted to see here. That's fine. Okay, let me just quickly get into the presentation. So guys, the most important tool which everyone should know, whether they want to become a data analyst, whether they want to become a data engineer, whether they want to become a data scientist, is SQL. This is the first and foremost and the most important thing. Anyone, whether you want to become a data analyst, you want to become a data engineer, you want to become a data scientist, this is the thing which you need to know anyhow. Like every role, literally every role, you want to become a data scientist, before making a model, you need to see the data. Okay, these are the columns, these are the things which I need to use. You are data analyst, you also need to see at the data. Okay, we have this is columns, on basis of these we can predict it. You are a data engineer, you need to see if there is any ambiguity in the columns, if there is any ambiguous data here, you need to model the data according so that the BI tools can work on it. So the first and foremost important thing is SQL. Even if you want to become a backend developer, bro, you cannot skip SQL. SQL is the first and foremost and the most important skill, I would say. There are tools which are writing SQL, but trust me, when it comes to very complex SQL, when it comes to store procedure, when it comes to building the logic, and when it comes to understanding the requirement from the person and then building it, AI tools are failing, abruptly failing. And I will share you the scenarios and some use cases maybe in the end of this session, why I am saying that tools are failing in terms of SQL. They are so good at writing SQL. I mean, there are tools which are excellent in writing SQL, but they can't write end to end, right? And the second tool which I would suggest is Python. Of course, there are scenarios where you can learn R, you can learn Java, you can be data engineer with Java as well, you can be data engineer with R as well. But major chunk, I would say 90% of this industry currently running on Python. Not because Python is a very smart language or a very uh, differentiating language with others, but because Python is easy to understand, easy to write. People might be thinking that Python is slower. We can use C++, we can use Java. Of course, you can use. But when it comes to writing the complex logic, when it comes to making your things segregated, it's difficult to do with other languages. That requires a lot of expertise in coding, a lot of thinking abilities. But when it comes to Python, there are so many things wrapped into it so that you can use it easily. Okay, so the second skill which I would say is Python. SQL is the first and foremost important skill. Then it comes the Python. All right. So before getting into the next slides, I would like to know, what do you think, which would be the most highest paid job? Data engineering, data analyst, data scientist? Write in the chat box, or you can just unmute and say which job do you think is the highest paid in terms of data analyst, data engineer, or data scientist? Data scientist, data scientist. Okay, data scientist. Okay. And if you think you don't have idea, you can just say no idea or anything. Just I wanted to hear from you all that are you awake or you are just data engineer? Okay. And none of you are writing data analyst. No idea. Okay. That's actually Suryans. I was also a kind of guy like you. I was not having much of idea on this before I get into the data engineering space. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to know, get an idea how many of you are from, I mean, how many of you are freshers or working professionals? If you are professionals, just type professional or fresher. Data architect, freshers, 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 first year freshers. Okay. Anyone here who is working in any MNC or any role? Okay. All right. So guys, uh, let's get into the slides and see the career pathways. So yeah, I'm very sure you must be wondering about. Let's get into the salary first, then we will be deciding what I need to do. जिसमें ज़्यादा पैसा मिलेगा, we'll go on that, right? So I'm going to share the snippet with you. This is one of the things which I have got from the internet, of course, from some AI tools. Not done so much research on it, but yeah, I feel this is somewhat true. So data engineers are quite highly paid. Yeah. The reason is they are highly paid because see data and okay, let's not get into the pay first. Let's get into the skill set required, and then we will get into the why they are paid so and so. So when it comes to data analyst, we require SQL, Excel, Power BI, basic statistics, not then not this advanced calculus, not this trigonometry. We need basic statics, basic maths. No bluff like we need to know so many things, so many formulations, nothing like that. You need to understand the SQL, you need to understand the Excel, you need to understand the uh, BI, that is business insights, right? It could be Power BI, it could be Tableau, it could be Looker, any of these tools, but Power BI is prominent in the market. That's why I have written Power BI. And these are the easiest entry points, because see, most of us have studied SQL in our colleges, and Excel is something which can be, mastered in a span of 6 months for you know, uh, a mid-level, I would say, mid-level expertise in Excel. When it comes to Power BI, also currently AI has made it easy to create any kind of visualization. Now, when it comes to data engineering, we again require SQL, we require Python, then we require Spark. So Spark is nothing; it's a kind of processing engine which has support of multiple languages. And again, it's not 100% mandatory, not at all. There are other options as well. In fact, you can be a data engineer without zero knowledge of Spark, but current situation and what exactly I am doing. So this all, whatever I am sharing is on my based on my experience. So yeah, if you are a data engineer, of course you should know PySpark, Spark. Then you should know the cloud, any of the cloud, AWS, GCP, Azure. Then you should know the ETL concepts. When it comes to ETL concepts, everything so far was fine. SQL, TK, Python, TK, Spark, Databricks, cloud, fine. But when it comes to ETL concepts, there comes the concept of modeling. There comes the uh, concepts of architecture. There comes the concepts of you know um, metadata driven architectures. So these are the things which are making data engineering a bit of complex, not so much complex, but a bit of complex. Because, uh, okay, I will get into this after that when it comes. Let's first discuss the data scientist. So, and for data scientist as well, you need to know the Python, then you need to know the ML. You can learn the libraries like scikit-learn, TensorFlow, and for now, from the Gen AI world, I would strongly recommend everyone should get into the Gen AI experimentation. What I mean by Gen AI experimentation, you should learn how to create vector databases. If you want to get into data scientist, you should learn how the chat GPT is working from the backend. Not I'm talking about how this chat GPT complete model has been created. If you have the interest and if you have the energy to get so deep, that's really great. But if you can't get that deep, but you should understand, okay, there is a model of chat gpt, how they are saving our context, how when we are sending our request, how it is going getting to understand our previous information, what is the concept of tokenization, what is the concept of limits. So all these things you need to understand, right? Okay, now I was talking about the specialized roles of data analyst, data engineering, and data scientist. So I said that data engineers are getting a bit more paid in terms of data analyst, and slightly, I would say, currently data scientists and data engineers are equally paid, or sometimes data scientists are paid more, sometimes data engineers are paid more. The scenario is like if you are someone who has worked into RAG. It's a concept in Gen AI, which is I retrieve argument generation, something like that. It's an algorithm which is exactly a framework which is used to build chatbots with the Gen AI applications. So if you have the knowledge of this, this has been launched somewhere around 2020, if I'm not wrong. Please check this information. So currently there is a huge demand, because MCP and RAG are things which are currently getting involved in building these Gen AI capable applications. So it's a very critical skill to be have. That's why people are the people who have the experience on this skill set are very low. If there's people are low, then of course the demand is high, and people are low, then of course there would be costing. That's why some of the data scientists who have the experience in terms of LangChain, LangGraph, RAG, MCP, they are getting higher paid. Now, when it comes to data engineering, in data engineering space, there is something called as data modeling. So there are multiple data modeling stuff like Kimball model, data vault model. Then we have Medallion architecture. So these are the things which are, very much interrelated to business, and they're very much interrelated to what exactly is the need of departments, what exactly is the need of analyst, what exactly is the need of data scientist. So AI can do this. Of course, whatever we are talking here about data analysts, data engineers, data scientists, these all things can be done by AI. But when it comes to end-to-end execution, when it comes to understanding the business requirements, AI will fail. That's why in data engineering space there are so many complex things you have to, it's not about AI even, it's about you have to get with the business to understand what exactly the requirement is. You have to get with the analyst to understand what exactly they want. You have to get with the data scientist to understand what exactly they want. Then you, of course, you have to connect with the your cloud team to understand what's the costing aspects. Then after covering all these stuff, you will come to a common conclusion that okay, we are going to build this kind of data warehouse, we are going to build this kind of architecture, we are going to build this kind of model so that data analyst and data scientist can use it together. That's why data engineering space is difficult, because it involved with so many stakeholders, keep making them understand the complexity, making them all in the same page so that everyone can utilize that information. And I'm not saying any of these roles are superior or inferior, but I'm, based on my experience, I'm telling why data engineers are highly paid and why they are in huge demand right now. For all of you who are thinking data scientist is the most demanding job right now, you are slightly correct. That's the second highest demanded job right now. The first highest demanded job is data engineers. Because anything which is built on AI, anything which is built on Gen AI requires data, a lot of data. There is a lot of data which is flowing here and there, but we are not collecting it, we are not utilizing it. It's just going like a garbage, or we are not storing it. So companies have now moved their focus to data. They would be getting into AI, but before getting into AI, they need data. And from where the data would come? That would come from a workforce who are specialized in building data pipelines and bringing that data up. All right, so I think I have emphasized a lot about data engineering. Hope all of these three roles are clear so far. Happy to answer questions.
So here there is a question in a chat box.
Okay. In Q&A. Okay. You
No,
guys.
in chat box.
Okay. Okay. If you want to ask one-on-one question, you can directly ping me here on this channel. I would be available to answer it here, or you can just use the Q&A section, and you can also use the chat box. Okay. So confused with what to choose. Sir, that means AI will not replace this career path. Sir, what about ML engineer? Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's get into the questions one by one. Feel free to drop your questions, guys. I have few other slides as well coming up, but yeah, I would love to answer your queries first, or we can have an interaction one-on-one with mic and muted. I have given permission to all of you to unmute yourself if you want to. For now, I feel only one question to answer now. Rest others I will answer at the end of this session. So Konya Devan, what about ML engineers? So brother, basically this data scientist and ML engineering rule is similar. Your I mean, currently they are similar. Previously, what was that? Like we have some AI engineers, we have some ML engineers, we have. So what has happened now that the demand is growing such a way that you need to think end to end, right? And companies cannot afford someone who can just build uh, ML models like linear regression model, logistic regression model, or supervised unsupervised learning models. They need someone who also can work on AI stuff. That's why currently my understanding is data scientist is someone who has the visibility of both the sides. So Konya, yeah, ML engineering is a good, or I would say excellent role, but with AI. AI ML engineering is an excellent field. You can, of course, look into that. And Janvi, I will be answering your question in the end. I have something for this as well. All right. So let's get into the roadmap, right? You must be thinking, okay, well, yeah, I got to know that I need to learn the SQL, Python before I get into this space. Now let's get into the what, when, how we have to learn. So yeah, I would suggest you can start with the SQL basics of SQL, Python. Then start with a project, be it a Power BI project, be it a Streamlit project. So Streamlit is kind of a UI framework which is of built on top of Python. Then once you have a good understanding of SQL, Python, and your domain specific tools, then you can get into the cloud basics. What I mean by cloud basics here, I have written Databricks because Databricks is a great platform if you want to be a data engineer or be a data scientist. For data analysts, I would suggest there are better tools you can explore. So you can get into the cloud basics and then advanced projects. And of course, one of the most important thing I would say is networking with professionals. So this is a very high level overview or a roadmap, which I would say can help you to get into this industry. But there is a 90 days action plan, which I have built to help you get started. So in week 1 to week 4, you can start learning SQL, Python, and then from week 4 to 8, you can get into the projects. What kind of projects you can build? You can build some open API projects using Kaggle, college data, or you can use GitHub. Or then you can get into social media, specifically LinkedIn, to share about your project journey, to share about your learning so far. And then of course you can get into the communities like this Noida user group, GDGs, and connect with the data professionals so that you can learn about what exactly is happening currently in this industry and how you can excel on these things. So I would say this is a 90 days checklist that you should consider, that okay, at least I have done this in 90 days. Of course, this can vary person to person, skill set to skill set, and priorities to priorities. Some of the free resources which you can utilize is LeetCode SQL 50. I would strongly recommend anyone who is getting started with SQL to do this. Trust me, if you have done this much, you are 200% fine for any of the fresher role in any of product-based organization as well for SQL, be it Microsoft, be it Amazon. Trust me, this SQL 50 of LeetCode is a very versatile and a beginner-friendly, I would say, collection that really helps to strong your SQL skills. You can use W3 Schools as well. They have a great resource. Now, when it comes to Python, there are so many uh, tools, so many YouTube videos, so many things are there. It's up to you where you want to go. But one thing I would, I mean, that's my personal favorite, Automate the Boring Stuff. This It's a kind of a book which we have. You can, I mean, if you are a book nerd, then of course you can go through it. But yeah, there are plenty of resources that on YouTube. You can go from any of them. For visualization, there is Microsoft Learn, and there are so many playlists on Power BI. Try to build some end-to-end projects. Just don't try to replicate what they have taught on YouTube, because that's not going to help you to build the logic. You are just copy pasting. So rather than copy pasting, try to build something from your own. When it comes to cloud, so see, everything here till SQL, Python, and visualization you can install in your system, you can code and you can build it. But when it comes to cloud, you need access, right? You need some resources, you need access to build something on cloud to understand the platform. So in order to do so, we have Databricks Free Academy, Databricks Academy. Then we have Microsoft Student. Then we have AWS. I don't exactly AWS Skills. Yeah, something like that. You can check on Google. There is something AWS Skills. Then we have Cloud Skill.
AWS skill builder. It is AWS skill builder.
Oh yeah, skill builders. Yes, correct. So we have AWS skill builders, then we have Cloud Skill Boost. So for Databricks Academy, what there is, we have a Databricks free edition. In Databricks free edition, you can do anything or everything, except connecting it with the cloud. So Databricks is a third-party tool, I would say, for every cloud, which is it is available on AWS, it is available on Google Cloud, it is available on Microsoft. You can connect with it, you can play around it, you can learn it. For Microsoft Student Pack, you can just simply enable GitHub Student Pack, and then you can get $100 credit into your account. You can use it for an year. That would be give you complete access to the Microsoft environment, but not for a production grade. But yeah, of course, free tools will be available there. I mean, every tool will be available there, but with a limitation, like you cannot do on a production scale. If you're creating a VM, then you cannot create a very high cost VM. But yeah, you can do almost things. Then it comes to Skill Builder and Google Cloud Post. So on these, what we have some uh, you know. Guidance based labs that will give you, okay, click here, you will see this, click here, you will see this, and they will also give you the platform to do that. They will assess you there, they will mark you there so that you can progress on it, right? So you can do that and build your skill set. All right, so any questions so far? Okay. What about, oh, sir, I'm in AIML. That's nice. What about Databricks? It's just a platform only. What we can do with Databricks? Know what all basic and important projects we should have, where we can find it. Okay. Okay. Sir, like I have decided to go on with data. Should I choose a core or a particular data path? Okay. Okay. I think I will be answering others' question, but for Partho, let me just take it up. What exactly Databricks is and how we can use that platform. So Partho, basically, Databricks is a platform, third-party tool, which is integrated, is having integration with AWS, Azure, GCP. So it's a kind of a processing engine built on top of Spark in terms of technical languages. But what I would say, it's a okay. Think of like your laptop. Okay, in your laptop, you have your storage, you have your RAM, you have your processor, right? And then you have your operating system. So what Databricks exactly does it takes the hardware from these clouds, GCP, AWS, Azure, and then do a wrapper on top of it, uh, kind of installs an operating system of it under the hood, and give you a platform where you can just code, use Spark, and you can also fine tune what kind of cluster you want to use. That's a very high level overview which I have given you. Maybe in the end of the session, I will give you a quick walkthrough of how exactly Databricks looks like and what you can do. To give you an easy understanding, the UI of Databricks looks like this notebook. You must have used Jupyter Notebook, so it looks like Jupyter Notebook where you can just do the coding and all stuff, and you can run it on the any kind of cluster based on based on the configuration. Any of the configuration you can choose, and you can store the information in terms of in form of tables. All those information will be stored in the cloud provider only, whether it's AWS, Azure, or GCP. But Databricks would be managing it. So it's a kind of managed service which uses the infrastructure of other clouds. Maybe it makes some sense. Okay, thanks. Okay, now let me get into the most important thing, which I feel. I want you to remember this slide. Projects are very important. Then your marks. Skills are super important. Then your college year. And no one is going to ask in your technical interview. If your resume is qualified, trust me, no one is going to ask, what's your CGPA? They are just going to ask, show me what you have built. And I am telling you based on my 10-20 interviews experience so far in terms of data engineering, and in terms of the interviews which I take these days. So I have never asked any candidate what was your CGPA. I have always asked what you have built in your project. Trust me. And I have personally seen candidates from third tier college cracking amazing rules. Like, even I would not say third tier colleges, colleges you even not even know. And one of the example I would say is Striver. You all must have heard of him. He's an amazing example for it. He has made so much from the community, and he has been working at Google, right? So it never matters in which college tier you are, but it always matters what skill sets you have. And I have got one question, like, what are the project ideas, right? You need to build. So first of all, I would say, let's not just get into the iris data set. Those who are from AI ML background will understand. Let's not just get into the iris data set and build a classifier model. Let's build some projects which are really eye catching for recruiters. The first one is placement data analysis, which can analyze the placement information from the last 5 years, 6 years. You can get this information from your college, or you can use any of the superficial data set or the public data set available. You can build a student performance dashboard showing what's the relationship between the attendance and the grade. If the students are present more in the class, are they likely to get the good grades? You can do a kind of correlation and build a pictorial representation of it, right? So placement data analysis would require data engineering and then BI skills, maybe a bit of BI. But when it comes to student performance dashboard, of course, it's gonna take some of the data engineering skills and BI skills. Basic recommendation system, like suggesting the courses based on their previous performance. This would require data engineering plus data scientist roles, scientific skills. It's not that you should only be stick to one profile, but it should be like you are specialized in one profile, but you know the broader definition of other roles as well, the broader you know clarity of other roles as well. And once you start the project, how you will be sliding through it, how you will be understanding what to do next and how I can start it and get into that. So first you should understand the problem, what exactly I am solving. Like in the previous projects, it would help students as well, it will help teachers as well to understand, okay, if the students are coming regularly to classes, then they're getting better grades, or if they're not coming to the classes, they are getting better grades, right? So first understand the problem, then it comes to data. Whenever there is a AI ML data analyst project or data engineering project, the first and foremost thing is data. Where you are going to get that data? Is that data publicly available? Do I need to fabricate the data? Do I need to get the data from any other? That's what you need to figure out. And then you have to exactly build in your mind what output would be. I want an ML model. I want a Power BI dashboard. I want a simple visualization with Python. For example, me, I am a data engineer. I want to do the complete data engineering, but I also want to show it to others, right? I don't know Power BI. I don't know other BI tools, but I can use some Python libraries like Matplotlib, Seaborn, and other to build some beautiful UI and show to others. So that's what I can do. And whatever you have built, you also need to show that to recruiter, right? So beautifully explain that in your resume. Always mention the numbers here, like 5,000 student plus. So what we have, three things: problem, data, outcome, and the fourth and most important thing is visibility. How you are going to make it visible. You can post about it in your LinkedIn. You can write a blog about it. You can present it in any of the community events like Noida Databricks user group. You can present it on any of the cloud platforms. Like if you have built it on Azure, you can Microsoft Student Days, or there are some competitions. I don't exactly remember the name. AWS has recently launched this hackathon AI for Bharat. There you can present, or in terms of GCP, they are also having some hackathons for this cohort. You can present it there. You can present it in these annual solution challenge. So there are so many platforms where you can build present it. This will bring visibility to you. It's really important to be visible. You can know anything or everything, but if it's not visible, you are not going to get profit out of it. So let's quickly get into some myths, realities. I know I was having these myths, so I have written it. I'm not from CS, I can't do data. Bro, let me tell you, for those people who think I'm not from CS, I can't do data, my lead is from electrical background and he's really awesome at data. I learn a lot from his, but he's not from CS background. The real and important thing is logic and curiosity. That really matters more than any of the data skill. Second myth, I need advanced maths for data. No, you don't need it. Because see, I'm very, not very, but yeah, I was not very good at mathematics. I was a mid or below average student, but I'm in data engineering, right? Without so much of advanced mathematics, I'm doing fine. Basic statistics is enough. Not so much. You should understand what is mean, what is median. That is very enough. Not so much of things. And the third and most important myth, AI will replace all data jobs. No, never. Because think of AI as a system which is built by data only. How do you think AI will be able to build its own data? Right? Sometimes AI would be able to build the pipelines, but in order to understand what kind of data I need to feed, what kind of fine tuning I need to do, that's not something AI can do. AI can do my task, AI can write a SQL, but it cannot build from scratch. Okay, I want, this is the company, I have data from there, let me just build it from here to here. No, AI will not be able to do that because AI don't have the context. AI don't know why I need to do this. When you know why you need to do this, then you know how to do, right? So why is very important thing which makes the difference. And how to be AI proof in this market. So of course, you have heard this thousands of times. AI won't replace you. A person using AI will. I'm also saying the same because it's really important right now to use AI tools because the expectations in the industry are really high right now. Uh, I want to share one of the incident. Like some days back, I got a ad hoc request from my manager that Harshit, this is one of the data set. We have to mask this column. I was like, fine, okay, let me just do it in an hour. He said, I need in 15 minutes. I can't do that, right? It will take some time for me to write the code. I need to understand. Of course, I will be get stuck. I have to Google, then I would write. So what I did, I simply did ChatGPT to, asking about the structure of the code or just code it for me. He did that, but I can't share it to my manager, of course, because that's going to in production. And if something went wrong, then I would be the one who will be taken accountable for it, right? So what I did, I took the code from GPT, then I tried to understand it end to end. Then I have shared it with my manager. You can use AI, but use it as a tool. Don't give him the power to become Harshit, because he's not going to be the accountable. You are the person who is going to be accountable for it. That's why I cannot replace, because no one would, if I make a chat gpt accountable, what's going to happen? He does not have any fear, right? But humans do have fear. That's why that does make a difference, because there would be someone who needs to be accountable for anything happening. There would be someone who needs to take the responsibility. Second, solve real problems. AI can generate the code, as I said, but they can't understand the business context. Why do I want to do that? So it's really important to understand the business context, right? Third, build system thinking. Don't focus on individual tasks. Don't just focus on, okay, I want to clean this data. Try to understand things end to end. Why this is happening, how this is happening, what next could happen. It's really important to, not just to focus on the single task, but to understand things end to end, because AI can do single task, but AI cannot do everything For example, if I want AI to build the complete website, AI won't be able to do that. If I would say AI is create a login page, AI would do that. Create a forget password section, AI would do that. If I say create a registration page, AI would do that. So I need to navigate it through end to end, right? And I should also be responsible for understanding what exactly is happening in the backend, so that if there is anything which went wrong, then I should be able to fix that out. Or in fact, I can ask AI to fix that out. But sometimes what happens is we are trying to fix things from AI, and AI is understanding differently. It does that different. And last and most important thing, stay curious, keep learning. Uh, I wanted to share another incident. I was learning Databricks and I was working on Databricks 1 years back from now. For 6 7 months I was not in touch of Databricks. I was having some other tools at AWS, so I was not in touch of Databricks for a very long time there. So what happened when I joined back, I mean when I started using Databricks again, I was shocked, like, oh, there are so many changes happening. So we are evolving so much fast that we need to uh, grow with time. We need to speed up ourselves, buckle up ourselves to be AI proof. This is, I think, all I wanted to share from this session. Before winding up, I would like, yeah, yeah. Before winding up, I would like to give a special mention to Rajiv. I want to give a big shout out to Rajiv Gupta. He's the data pool lead from Sharda University and the backbone for this entire event. From planning to execution, Rajiv has made this possible. And I would suggest all of you to take these kind of initiatives, right? Because it's not that he's getting something, but it's like when you work with community, you learn from others, you grow with others. And there are so many people who are you know uh, working in communities and growing. I have with my own experience, I am saying anyone you can think of, top people in tech, Striver, Loveber, or any other person, or that Samsung guy, I don't remember his name. So all of them were from community, because people say that community is not giving you anything. Of course communities might not giving you something on monetary basis, but the skills which you are learning, the public speaking in skill, the conflict management skill, the way others are presenting, that is something really really important. AI can do the code, but what all other humanized skills are required, that's not AI can do. So yeah, thanks all. You can scan this QR to connect to this Noida Databricks chapter. Yeah, open for questions, guys. I would be looking at the questions. Sorry, Rajiv, to cut you off. Yeah.
No problem here. There's an in Q&A, and thank
Okay.
you
Yeah.
for
Let
this
me.
special mention.
Okay. Yeah. You're welcome. Okay. Okay. So firstly, I was a bit confused between analyst and scientist, but now confused between all three. How to know what to choose? Okay. So let me take it this way. If you want a easy pathway, of course nothing is easy, but easier pathway, then data analyst is something you can go for. And if you are if you are okay just doing visualizations with the help of AI, and if you love being detective, if you love being thinking out of the box to understand, okay, if I would relate this to this would be something which I can show to my team. This would be something which would be helpful for my management to understand the correlations. Then, of course, you can go for data analyst role. If you want to think out of the box, which is not there in data, but you think there are possibilities that if I would put this algorithm in place, then I would get this much. This would be the output, and this would be helpful. Then you should get into the data scientist role. And if you think you are an accountable person, you are someone whom others can trust of, then you should become a data engineer. because that is the backbone of the entire system, and you would be accountable for the complete ecosystem, whatever is happening. If junk would get into the Power BI, then that's gonna be a disaster. That would get wrong information. If junk is going to be in any AI system, that's going to give a wrong answers, right? So if you feel you are a person who can take up the responsibility to be accountable, welcome. Data engineering is for you. Hope I answered. And Janvi, you should. I would see for specialization and core. I would talk about it in sometimes later. Any other questions we have? After being data engineer, is there any chance to work independently, like project basis, without joining any companies? There any platform as such? Yep, Partho, there are so many platforms which you can do that. And in fact, there are a couple of people who are currently working with me. They are working as independent consultants. Uh, Before joining our systems, I was also working as an independent consultant for one of the MNC, US MNC, in healthcare domain. Uh, I mean, at the very start of my career, I have worked on the uh, that I don't exactly. That was Databricks, no, Data Factory. Yeah, I have worked in Data Factory for them. So yeah, there are so many platforms and there is so much demand that you can do that. A couple of people are doing it. It just you should have the capability to show that yeah, you are accountable, and you would people can trust you that yeah, if we are giving him something, he will be able to deliver that. Okay, I think we don't have much except that core versus specialization question. Guys, any specific question in terms of data scientist, data analyst, or data engineer role? Feel free to unmute and ask if any one of you having any question. Okay. If not, then I have a fun activity planned for you all. Are you ready, guys? Just say yes if you are awake, because we are discussing it from last uh, an hour. Okay. Okay. Rajiv, over to you. So we are not going to
Okay,
judge
yeah.
you. It's just a fun activity we have planned for you. Some surprising questions. So there would be some surprising questions, and you would be shocked to know the answer. Rajiv, please include audio while sharing the screen.
Okay, yeah. You need to stop your presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And one thing, just hang on. Janvi, I would be answering your question at the end, maybe. Okay, let me just, Raju, give me 1 minute. Let me just finish it before we get into it.
Okay, no.
So, Janvi, in terms of specialization and core, what is this like? See, if you want to get a gist of everything, if you want to understand everything at a very high level, so that you can have a clarity what exactly you want to choose, then their core would be the best. But if you want a bit of specialization, trust me, college is not going to give you 100% specialization on anything. They would what they would do, they would subtract one core subject from your syllabus, and they would put a specific subject from the specialization into your bucket, so that you can get a bit of it. How this is helpful when we are taking a specialization, anyhow you are learning something which is specific to that area, and sometimes also aligned with the industry. But when you are core, you are having experience to everything around the CSE, so that you can choose what exactly you want. Hope I answered.
Yeah, I would like to
Yeah,
this.
please.
First, I would like to ask Janvi, are you from Sarda University? Quick, no. So, if it is better that you like you can be in the core. You don't need to go for a specialization. Like For me, the self study has worked the most. The thing that are taught in college are more of theory, and you rarely going to use that. So if you are good to do self study, then you can go with core. Okay, we can start the quiz. Hope my screen is visible. Oh shit.